Okay, so welcome to the part six. So this is the Industrial Revolution. This is the this is like a group like a group slide. So okay, so this is um alright, so alright, so this is the Industrial Revolution, the Gilded Age. Alright, so here it is. Second Industrial Revolution. 1870 to 1914. Original Industrial Revolution occurred in the late 70s or early 80s with the advent of textile mills. Improvements in technology, growth of urbanization, increase of immigration, importance of factories. Major inventions: telephone 1876, Alexander Graham Bell; light bulb 1879, and Thomas Edison. Model T 1908, and this is the familiar car that I've seen before, and this is Henry Ford. Expansion of the railroad prior of 1871 and only 45,000 miles of track between 1871 to 90,000. 170,000 miles of track were added. Pacific Railway Act of 1862 authorized construction of the first continental railroad. What purpose did railroads serve? Why were they so important during this time of period? This is the railroad in 1860. Okay, so railroad is a railroad in 1890. This is what it spreads all apart. Working on the railroad, extreme weather conditions, long work days, many immigrant workers, China. Growth of factories. Factories were originally known for mass production. Now factories were contributing to iron and steel production. Use of machinery of manufacturing, introducing electricity in factories. And so this is what they're doing right now. So they are like getting started. Okay, so shift from agriculture. The growth of factories led to a shift of a agrarian society to a more mechanized society. People were working on factories instead of in fields. Growth of cities. Over 50 million, 15 million people moved to the cities between 1880 and 1900. Or what do we call it? All right, so many were immigrants, building of suburbs. Living conditions were poor due to rapid growth in cities. Large numbers of people become permanently concentrated in relatively small areas forming cities. This is called the urbanization. Urbanization, 1860, 20% urban, 80% rural. 1870, 26 urban, 74% rural. 1880, 24% urban, 76% in rural. Rural. 1890, 45% urban, 65% in rural. 19, 1900, 40% urban, 60% rural. 1910, 46% urban, 54% in rural. Mulberry Street, New York City, New York, 1909. Chicago's home. Insurance Building, world's first skyscraper at 10 stories, tallest modern building for 1884 to 1889. Biltmore, Asheville, North Carolina, 1889, 250 bedrooms, 250 rooms and 35 bedrooms, 43 bathrooms, and 65 fireplaces. So this is the Gilded Age homes. That is a lot of houses. Dang. This is like a hotel. Jacob Rees, How the Other Half Lives. Not everyone lived such as lavish conditions. Many new immigrants did not have funds to live in luxury. Jacob Rees was a photojournalist who documented the living conditions of many immigrant workers. So this is him right here, The Jungle, Upton Sinclair. Muckraker reporters who exposed corruption among politicians in the elite. Ada Tarbell investigated John D. Rockefeller and his rise with Standard Oil. Upton Sinclair, The Jungle, 1986, exposed conditions in the meatpacking industry. Tenement housing, first concept, apartment buildings in New York, 82,000 tenements were home at 3 million people. Originally did not have air conditioning or indoor plumbing. 1879 reforms installed basic air and plumbing, but conditions were still horrendous. On the next few slides, we are going to look at some of the photos taken by Jacob Rees. What's your initial reaction to this photo? What do you see in this photo? How would you describe the individuals in this photo? What does the background look like? How does this photo show the living conditions for those who lived in the tenement housing compared to the images of mansions like the Biltmore? How the other half lives. I heard of that word before. That phrase. Pretty pretty depressing. People have no homes. Yeah, a long time ago, they were no bathroom. People will have to deal with it, guys. They really do. Immigration. Why do you think so many people were immigrating to America between 1880 and 1910? What are the positive effects and negative effects of having so many people moving to the United States in such a short period of a time? Why do you think that? Immigration, maybe people were seeking new opportunities, push factor, an event or issue that forces somebody to leave their home country for another, just like just like a full of racism going on. What are some examples of push factors thinking 1880s? Pull factor, a reason that draws somebody to move to another country. Like somebody's being racist when they're a black human being or something like that. All of these things above, I don't know about, never mind. What are some examples of pull factors? Think 1880s. Common 80s. Common 80s. Pull factors. Push factors. Crop failure. Land job shortages. Rise in taxes and famine. Pull factors. America was a land of economic opportunity. This is like a driver's test that you have to take on personal freedom, freedom for religious or political persecution. Just like um, all the left or right, or push or pull. Like when you're pushing the door and you're pulling the door for everyone else to come in. Where were immigrants coming from? The migration in the United States was a part of worldwide transfer to population that accelerated with the Industrial Revolution and accompanying improvements of transportation. So from Asia, Mangrove Chinese 370,000 and Japanese for 275,000 from Europe or Germany or Poland. Immigration destinations. Over 12 million immigrants arrived in the United States between 1870 to 90s. Two main entry points. European immigrants, Western and Eastern Europe, Ellis Island, Asian immigrants, Chinese and Japanese, Angel Island. So this is what they see around the world that is tearing apart so far. Ellis Island, open 1892. Peak years 19 to 1914. Average 19 immigrants a day. So this is what they're prepared for to prepare for something that need to get working on. I was on today. Dang, it looks so different. Statue of Liberty, dedicated in 1886, joint American-French effort sculpted by Frederick Auguste Bartholdi. The New Colossus, written in 1883 by Emma Lazarus, speaks to a statue's role as a welcoming symbol of freedom and democracy for the millions of immigrants who came to America seeking a new and better life. Even you're tired, you're poor, your huddle masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refused of your teeming shore send these the homeless. Tempest tossed to me, left my limb beside the golden door. I heard of that name before. I know who Emma Lazarus. I know who she is. I seen her before. I heard of it before when I was like 3 years old. I think it was like March of 20. I think it was like March of 2007. Yeah, I was free. I was free. Yeah, I think I heard of that name before. I didn't recognize Emma Lazarus at some point. Angel Island, passage into America for immigrant for Asia and Pacific Island nations. Chinese immigration. This is what it looks like. The Chinese population per county, 1880. Chinese Exclusion Act, 1882. Come out and ratify. Come, everybody. No more Chinese. Well, that's definitely racist. By the order of Democratic Country Central Committee, or Committee, I should say. May 6, 1882, suspended Chinese immigration for 10 years. Chinese immigrants could not become U.S. citizens. Challenge in the Supreme Court. 1902, Chinese immigration was not made permanently illegal. Hip hurrah! Hip hurrah! Chinese excluded. Democratic Chinese exclusion bill has been signed by an R Democratic president. Curb immigration, California from China. White workers were tired of losing jobs to Chinese immigrants. Concerns about maintaining white purity. The Chinese wall around the United States of America. That's what Donald Trump was planning to do, to build a wall. How many people can also build a wall, but I don't know about Donald Trump because I don't think Donald Trump can build a wall. I don't think he knows how to do it. Immigration issues today. Today, a majority of immigrants are coming into the country are from Latin American countries. Illegal immigration is an issue in this country, estimates from 11 to 13 million illegal or undocumented immigrants are living in the United States. So they were working on different roads or different walls that are taking place. All of the workers are building the wall, but all building the walls, but Donald Trump is just staring at it and not facing a different issue. But don't you think that Donald Trump doesn't know how to build a wall, but he does. So, yeah. Actions to combat illegal immigration. President Trump ran in 2016 with immigration as a key part of his platform. There's Donald Trump with the uh, with the guy right here. I don't know what he is, but with the Mexico border, that's what he is, right? He promised to build a wall to diminish illegal immigration, specifically along the U.S. Mexico border. We're going to look at the debate surrounding illegal immigration in the United States. So that's what the border was going to plan to do that. Industrial revolution factories. The group of cities led to group of factories. Massive waves of immigrants allowed factory to owners to have plenty of employment. See the loss of specific craftsmen and tradesmen, beginning of a more of a mechanized society. Let me know if I'm going too fast. Factory workers, mostly immigrants, middle class of society, children, young adults, and grown-ups all worked in factories. Child labor. I heard this one before, but many children were used to exploited for their labor during the Industrial Revolution. Miserable working conditions crowded in unclean factories. Lack of safety codes. Long working hours. So this is where a kid, I don't know if it's like it's a boy. The boy was just staring at the camera and he was like planning about the child labor was, he was probably know how to do something about, he's probably planning something to be honest, but child labor. Children were paid less, unable to organize the unions. They can complete tasks in factories and in mines that adults cannot. These children were not afforded to opportunity to attend school. This is created a cycle of poverty. Um, when you're like in when this was a long time ago, you have to walk to school. There were no vehicles around here. I They were some vehicles, but they were not as used vehicles that they used to be. So that's what a long time ago was suffered. Child labor stuck around until the Great Depression era. Before the Industrial Revolution, child labor was common due to the agrarian lifestyle of many people. Essential of the economy and family sustainability. Sustainability. Children helped their family on this farm. Young boys started their apprenticeships between ages 10 to 14. Child labor reform. The National Child Labor Committee. Why? 2 million child workers under 16 years today. We want them to be normal men and women. You want this to join. The National Child Labor Committee. Efforts were made in the late 80s to emphasize the importance of children receiving an education. Not until 90 and when a major push the reform of child labor was introduced. National Child Labor Committee 1904 used its photos to expose working conditions for children. What do you see in this photo? Describe what the photo can be described about children look like if you can. What are some of dangers, negative working conditions that are visible in this photo? Here are some people working as mannequins. Some girls are working. They work like when this was a long time ago, back in the day. All right, this video might end in like for until the 33 minute. All right, life of factory worker, or it may end up more. Life of factory worker, long work days, 60-80 hour work week. Dang, that's a lot. I would be exhausted, dude. I'm not even kidding. 6 days a week, 12 to 14 hours a day. Unsafe working conditions, large, dangerous machinery, poor ventilation, polluted air, little compensation, small hourly wage 10 cents per hour, less for women and children, no job security, factory workers could hire and fire workers for any reason. If you're hired, then you could join the team. If you're fired, then you have to find another job or something like that. Or it could be a stay-at-home mom or dad, doesn't really matter. Or can take care of yourself. Factory conditions. As mentioned, factory conditions were horrible. Dust is diverse everywhere. Food was produced in unclean matters. Upton Sinclair, The Jungle, 1906. A muckraker wrote about the conditions in meat packing plants in Chicago. His work shocked the country and led to the creation of federal food safety laws. The jungle is used to describe human greed and social damage it causes, like a lot of things that happen from a jungle. I'm not talking about the jungle at the where it's all a bunch of trees and stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the what is described as here. All the buildings has been and all the laws has been mostly not sense at all, or it could be sense. Meat packing factories. This is what animals are getting. This is what pigs are getting called. Splitting backbone. Swift and Company, and I feel bad for those pigs out there. You guys know child abuse is never okay. It is it is extremely not okay at all. Organized labor. What does it mean for workers to unionize? Unionize. What is the purpose of a labor union? What would these labor unions demand for employees, for employers or bosses? Workers become aware of the economic inequalities between them and the executives in charge. Workers wanted better wages, better working conditions, fewer work hours. Be organized into unions to demand these changes. Knights of Labor, 1870 to 1890. Leader Terence Powderly. So this is what the labor unions, and this is what it looks like. Demands 8-hour workday, abolish child labor, equal pay for equal work. You have to pay your own bills. You have to pay your wages and all the things that can fit. Increase in wages. Endorsed in Chinese exclusion. When you get older, you'll be able to know how much money you have and how much money you have to pay for your own bills. All that stuff, man. It's just all that stuff. Is also the act of a different size. And it also happens in real life. So, but it happened a long time ago. People are struggling to know how many money they have in mind. Yeah, math was taking place. Haymarket Square riot, May 4th, 1886. Labor protest in Chicago broke out into a riot. Someone threw a bomb at the police, stepped back for the labor movement. Associated with the Knights of Labor, video over the riot. I would do a reaction out of it, but I'm not ready to do that yet. The labor unions. American Federation of Labor, 1886 to 1955. The leader, Samuel Gompers, the socialist, a Marxist, preparing for a working class revolution, seen as a national union movement instead of an individual organization. Homestead Strike, 1892. Andrew Carnegie's steel company, Homestead Steel Works, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Union workers has been demanding better conditions, pay and slowed factory output. Henry Frick, the boss, locked on unionized workers out. So the workers went on a strike outside the factory when they unionized the workers that have been stressed out pretty much easily. All right, strike breakers, the appeasement of workers to keep the factory moving and production on pace. These strikebreakers were actually detectives, and they were used to put down for striking taking place outside the factory. They were taking place for the strikes for the military that had been taking place for a long time. That's just all that stuff. Gunfire would break out the amongst the two the two groups, resulting in the casualties. The state militia was called in the Union was defeated. Like all the Union was pretty much defeated. All God. Pullman strike 1894. So the workers' wages were cut, but rent and food prices stayed the same. Grew into a national railroad strike. American Railway Union led by Eugene V. Debs. So this is what the whole thing looks like. Railroad companies placed U.S. mail on the train cars. There's a lot of people here, and there's a lot of judges. There's a lot of people that there's a lot of federal governments that have been to reach for more assistance. Strikers were illegally disrupting the delivery of mail. Federal government under president. I'm sorry, what was that? I usually think it was I usually think that was my phone, but I'm not sure what it is. Just I can go. I can actually go back and see who's doing it because I got that all on film. Sorry, Grover Cleveland stepped in and arrested Debs and the other strike leaders by July. The strike was over again with government assistance. Robber barons, captains of industry. The wealthy elite or business tycoons who made a fortune. Robber baron, a negative connotation employed ethically questionable working methods to eliminate competition and had little empathy for workers. Captains for industry, philanthropists, philanthropists made their wealth in a way to benefit society. Monopoly, exclusive possession on or control of the supply or trade on a commodity. Oil, steel, natural gas. You can watch the whole video if you wanted to, or if you already did, then that's great. Because I'm not a teacher, but I just want to read the assignments for fun. I mean, some of you guys think that I plan to be a teacher, but I'm not sure if I want to do that. I'd rather just focus on the waitress idea, just so you guys know. But the protectors of our industries. How did a political cartoon depict robber barons? What do you think of his message of, of this political cartoon? How did this political cartoon depict the struggle for workers? They have a lot of low wages and high rent. They had to pay a lot of rents to pay their own money and how much of the prices were sold. That's how money usually goes. Cornelius Vanderbilt, shipping and railroad tycoon, always would buy up various railroad companies to expand his monopoly on an industry, but control the railroads for New York to Chicago. John D. Rockefeller, one of the richest men in the world, founder of the Standard Oil Company, net worth over $400 billion, $400 billion dollars. Standard Oil controlled nearly 90% of the oil business during the 80s. Fake criticism of how he accumulated his wealth, Mudcracker Ida Tarbell. Standard Oil was later forced to break up into smaller companies, $500 million in charitable donations. All right, so most people who are taking U.S. history, they are always required to take U.S. history. You guys will obviously learn this for them, and hopefully this helps. Yeah, that's why I'm doing it for them. Andrew Carnegie, a true rags to riches story, born into a poor Scottish family and emigrated to the U.S. at 13. Invested in the steel industry and became owner of the Carnegie Steel Company, largest steel company in the world. Criticized for his treatment of workers at times, established for in the New York Public Library and the Carnegie Mellon University. So, like the Gospel of Wealth, an article of it argued the wealthy had a responsibility to contribute to the greater good of society. That's definitely what Andrew takes place on. The Gospel of Wealth. This, then, is held to be on duty of the man of wealth. First, to be set an example of modest, unost- unostentatious, not showy, flamboyant, living, shunning display, or extravagance. The man who dies thus rich dies disgraced. Such, in my opinion, is this true gospel concerning wealth, obedience to which is destined someday to solve problem of the rich and of the poor, and to bring peace on earth among men goodwill. All right, that's about it for this page. J.P. Morgan viewed more of it as a robber baron than a captain of an industry engaged in practices to disrupt any potential competition. Competition used his wealth to influence the 1896 presidential election. Business-friendly William McKinley was elected, held monopolies on numerous Finnish companies that help found General Electric (GE), board members of 48 corporations. All right, next assignment, probably the last. Okay, so this was made from Geography, the History of the World. Okay, so this is the Amazon forest, the Amazon rainforest. So this is what it looks like. So it's made by Leah, Bryce, and me. Location. This is where the Amazon rainforest is located at. The absolute location of the Amazon rainforest is the river towns with the 19th century of architecture form. From rubber boom days include Brazil's Manias, Emblem, and Peru's Iquitos, and Puerto Maldonado. Written in place, Part 1. The Amazon. The Amazon is the world's largest tropical rainforest, covering over 5.5 million square kilometers. It is so big that the UK and Ireland would uh, fit into it 17 times. Region in place. Part 2. The Amazon rainforest, covering as much of northwestern Brazil and extending into Colombia, Peru, and other South American countries, is the world's largest tropical rainforest, famed for its biodiversity. It is crisscrossed by thousands of rivers, including the powerful Amazon. All right, part 3. Around 400 and 500 indigenous Amerindian tribes call the Amazon rainforest home. It's believed about 50 of these tribes have never had contact with the outside world. Definitely what they look like. Had to have to deal with. All right, part 4. It was thought that the Amazon rainforest was only ever sparsely populated, as it was impossible to sustain a large population through our agriculture given the poor soil. Part 5. Rainforests are often called the lungs of the planet from their role absorbing carbon dioxide and greenhouse gas and producing oxygen, upon which all animals depend from survival. Rainforests also stabilize climate, house incredible amounts of plants and wildlife, and producing nourishing rainfall all around the planet. Environment interaction. Tropical rainforests are often called the lungs of the planet because they generally draw the carbon dioxide, which as you can see, and breathes out oxygen. But the amount of carbon dioxide they absorb or produce varies hugely, with year to year variations. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but okay. In the climate. So this is what they generally draw the carbon dioxide. This is what it meant to take place, just to remind you. Movement. The Amazon River is the second longest river in the world. The Amazon is the widest river of the world. The river acquires the shape of a boat estuary, about 325 kilometers wide. The Spanish soldier Francisco de Orellana, who was first European to explore the Amazon in 1541. That's a long time. The Amazon River is credited with following 20% of the Earth's fresh water into the Atlantic Ocean. Deadly creatures. Holy crap, that's a spider right here. Brazilian wandering spiders, also called armed spiders or banana spiders. Banana spiders, I think I heard of them before. Belong to the genus Phoneutria, which means murderous in Greek, and it is no wonder why. It's one of the most venomous spiders on Earth. Its bite can be deadly to humans, especially children, although antivenom makes death unlikely. Deadly Creatures Part 2. Brazilian Wandering Spider. Brazilian wandering spider Phoneutria is also called various names such as armed spiders and banana spiders. All right, part 3. Look at this kid right here. He's hugging a snake. Green anaconda. Anaconda can be a 30 feet long, like a school bus, and weigh up to 550 pounds, like 11 kids. Holy crap, dude. New plants or animal species. When applied to all five known eukaryote kingdoms of life on Earth, the approach predicted. So this is what it looks like right there. New plants, orchids. They usually this belongs to the Amazon rainforest. This is what orchids come from, and this is what orchids are are aware of that. New animals. A miniature catfish, Galanus pan was discovered in a tributary of Teles Pyrus River in the southern Amazon basin. It is uncommonly small for genus or Gelanogalanus mature. I don't know if I'm saying that word right, but mature males have elongated genopodium, modified anal fin into the shape of a tube. Towards the base of an anal fin, the name Pan refers to the Greek god of fertility and a masculine sexuality, and refers to the long gonopodium exhibited by the males. All right, that's the last one. Logging, the activity or business of felling trees and cutting and preparing the timber. Logging on private lands is difficult to regulate. The forest code requires that the Amazon properties maintain 80% of their land in Forest Cove, at least 20% land deforested in the Brazilian. Amazon is growing forest because of the amount of is actually logging. All right, so if you guys have any questions for the Amazon forest or the rainforest, just let me know. I'll be happy to answer your questions. Just I'll see you on the part 7.